Yo, what's up guys? I'm Tristan, welcome to 11%. Today I'm going to be walking you through my process on making Afro beat and amapiano beats. First, I'm going to grab a vibey guitar loop from Splice. I don't have a guitar with me right now. I just need to find something quick and easy. Alright, so this is the guitar loop I found. Let's give it a listen. Alright, so that's pretty dope. Kind of the vibe we're going for. Okay, so now that we have our guitar loop, I'm gonna go start doing the drums. Typically, I like to start with the snare, so I'll just go through Splice. I would highly recommend you get that if you're looking to make different genres of beats. I mean, it just makes it super easy to find whatever sound you need and fast. Alright, so I found a snare sound. This is what it sounds like. Typically, you can kind of just do whatever pattern suits you, but this is the basic pattern that a lot of producers use. And let's just start with that, and then we can add our own layers of bounce and rhythm. Alright, so now that we got this little pattern laid down, I'm going to add some little accent notes and then mess with the velocity to give it more of a humanized feel. So I'll put a note right here, I'll bring it down a couple notes, and then bring the velocity down a bit. You'll see how it'll change the sound a little bit. So now I'm going to add a couple other accent notes. So typically it'll be in like the 1/4 snap to grid setting, and you can just add little accents and then make sure the velocity is a little lower than the, the snare that we originally added. So I kept the second half of the pattern open, and I'm just going to repeat it over. So then it's going to add some variation into the beat, and I think it honestly speaks volumes about the track, and it keeps it interesting. So I also decided that this track is a little fast for my liking. So what I'm going to do is open the sample, and then where it says mode right here, I'll go to stretch, and then I can mess with the tempo as much as I want, and the key will stay the same and the loop will stay at the same. So I'll probably put it at like 108 BPM. I want it a little bit slower, but not too slow, just to give it a little bit more feel. I feel like how I had it before was a little bit too fast. This is how it sounds with it slowed down. So now I'm gonna add a kick. Typically for these amapiano beats, I like to do 4 on the floor. It's just, a groove that I like. You're more than welcome to try out other things. I'm gonna go on Splice once again and find a kick that I enjoy, and then we'll add that in real quick. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a kick. Typically I like to do a 4 on the floor pattern. It's just the groove that I like for these beats. Typically I find myself using trap kicks for it just because they hit harder. So I'm just gonna grab one right now. I have one that I really like and I use for a lot of beats. It's very fat, it just suits the bounce better. So now what I'm gonna do, right click the sound and hit fill each 4 steps, and then that'll just create a basic 4 on the floor pattern. And then I'm gonna go into the piano roll, highlight these, and then bring the velocity all the way up so it's loud. And now this is what we have. Alright, and another thing, you can hear the kick is clipping a little bit, so I always recommend for these kind of beats, just throw a little soft clipper on your master. No one really knows what it does, or a lot of people might know, but I just put it on there and it works, and that's kind of how you gotta be. You just gotta wing it, do whatever sounds good, So this is gonna improve the sound quality a lot. Alright, so I noticed that the loop was a little bit loud, so I went ahead and turned it down a little bit. And another thing that we want to do is add some pumping sidechain compression, just to give the kick more room to hit. So I'm going to use a plugin called Kickstart 2. Just leave it how it is. I'll maybe turn the mix down a little bit, and I'll play you the loop with that after. So now it's cutting the volume whenever the kick's going to hit, so it's going to sound a lot cleaner. So now, so far we have the snares and the kicks, so this is what they sound like together. So another thing I like to do with the snares typically is go into this little gear icon and then bring up the shift a tad bit. One of the most important things in these beats is swing, and that helps get more of like a natural humanized feel. So you'll hear how it changes the sound. Alright, so now I'm just going to find some accent percussion. I'm going to grab a couple sounds off Splice. So I added a little accent with this tom sounding drum, and I feel like it just gives the beat more groove. And another thing that you'd want to do is also randomize the velocities. So Option R if you're on Mac, and you got to make sure that the pattern is off and the levels are on. And I typically turn bipolar off and just bring the velocity down a little bit, and it just gives it a little more human feel. So this is how it sounds with that. So I'm also realizing that the kick pattern is getting a little boring, a little repetitive. So another thing that I like to do is add little stutters in the kick pattern and just make sure the velocity is lower to give it a little bit more groove, because you know that's what we're going for in the end. Alright, so now that we added some variation to the kicks, alright, so now I'm looking for a little bit more, continuous bounce rhythm in the track. So I'm going to find a little shaker percussion loop and throw that in there and see how it complements what we have so far. As you can see, the shaker adds a lot more life to the track. That's what we want. We want the artist to be able to flow on it and, just to get their groove going. So now I'm going to add some open hats. I feel like that's one of my favorite things to add into these beats, especially like with a certain kind of rhythm. I like this one. I like the more short and to the point ones. They're good for rhythm. So let's just go ahead and drag that in and see what we can do with it. Also, I noticed that there's a little offset at the start, and while that can be good sometimes, I don't like the offbeat feel that it's giving, so I'm just gonna turn up the start offset so the sound hits right when I want it to. So anyways, that's how this sounds. I'm also going to randomize the velocities on this one to give them more of a feel. And then I'm also going to find another one to go on the one, just to make the first beat hit a little bit harder. So I kind of like this one. We'll see if it works. It's a little loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Just let it hit on the one and see how we like it. Alright, so now that we got the basic groove down, I think it's time to add a bass. So I'm going to go into Splice and find a little like subby bass one shot that I like, and then make my bass pattern, sidechain it to the kick, and we'll be almost done. So I've picked a bass that I've liked. It is a one shot, so typically what you want to do for these is you want to go to this envelope folder and then drag the hold knob all the way up, attack down, decay down, sustain, release, everything else down except the hold. So then that'll make the sound only play when the note is playing. It won't continue. So it cuts off instantly, as you can see. So now it'll allow us to freely create the rhythm we want with our bass. And so now I'm just going to lay out the bass notes of the loop and then build on it further. Also, I noticed that the loop has bass in it that's clashing with the bass that I am adding. So I just want to cut the low end out of the loop real quick. So now I'm just gonna mess around with the groove of the bass and just find a pattern that I like. So now I'm going to route the bass to the mixer along with everything else that I haven't added yet. So what you can do as a shortcut, you can highlight all of these, click on the mixer that you want to start it with and do Command-Shift-L or Control-Shift-L if you're on Windows. And that will just put everything on the mixer labeled so you can navigate your mixing board easier and know what sound is what. So now I'm going to add Kickstart 2 once again to this bass, and that should help the kick punch more through the beat. And yeah, so this is how it sounds. So I really like where this is going. The bass groove is really nice. I'm enjoying it. And you can choose to overcomplicate the beat a lot more. But honestly, I think simplicity is key, especially leaving room for the artist to do their thing. And I think the groove that I have so far is more than good enough. As far as drum programming, this is done. So I'm just going to go ahead and arrange it real quick, and then you guys will get to hear the final beat. So that's it for today, guys. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button, comment, subscribe, and make sure to check out 11%.net. Pretty soon I should be releasing some drum packs, MIDI packs, and just sound kits in general on there, so stay tuned for that, as well as more tutorials. And I hope that this was helpful in some way or inspiring. Have a great day.